Wednesday. Today I am so excited. I have been invited to be the very first guest on a podcast being hosted by a top producing agent in the Lafayette area. A great guy. Our philosophy with my new company that I joined, Real, is very simple. Be kind and work hard. And he is the epitome of that. And I just love that mission. But I was thinking back this morning, and I love stories. I've always loved stories. And I'm an educator. I retired 5 years ago after 20 years in education and had moved up the ladder as high as I could go. And then I was told that a woman would never be superintendent of Acadia Parish School Board. So basically, in a nutshell, it was a steady decline after that, and I retired a year and a half later for 20 years. And absolutely, the biggest favor that person ever did for me was telling me that. It's led me where I am today. But I love a good story. I always did as a child. We grew up very, very poor. I remember not having any books in the house. In fact, when I was in the 3rd grade, I remember having this one chapter book called Lizzie Lies a Lot, the only chapter book I ever owned when I was a child, and I read it so many times. But I love school and love stories, and so there's some great stories. My real estate career actually started because the superintendent that was in charge of the school board when I worked there in February of 2019 came into my office one day and put me on administrative leave without pay. So for any of you that know what that means, it basically means you're fired. When you get put on administrative pay with leave without pay, the writing's on the wall. It means get the hell out. You're done. So thankfully, thank God every day that I had 20 and a half years and I was able to retire from that school system. And like I said, that is the absolute one of the many things that led up to me actually resigning and retiring after I was put on administrative leave, but has led me to this point. Story time. So that's part of the story. But I'll never forget, a person had told me a couple of years prior to that, and then another person kept telling me. In fact, my dear best friend's mother was a realtor her entire life, and she kept saying when I would tell her that I was not happy, because before I was put on administrative leave, I was not happy anymore. The whole time I was in the schools, I loved being in the schools, but when I had, at 15 years, had gone up to the school board office, I just didn't like being in an office at all. I never could get used to it. I absolutely love being in the schools and in the classrooms, and it was just, I didn't enjoy it at all. So she kept saying, listen, if you don't like it, retire and go into real estate. You'd be amazing at real estate. And I just remember thinking, I'm not working nights and weekends. As miserable as I am in this job, at least I know at the end of the day, it's over. It's Monday through Friday. It's no weekends. It's no nights, right? It's just, at least as a supervisor of technology, I left the job at the job. I didn't have papers to grade and all the things teachers do, right? But I was miserable. And she kept saying, if you don't like it, get into real estate. And I kept saying, no, I'm not working nights and weekends. And then one day, another friend of mine said, listen, if you're not happy, go into real estate. You'd be great in real estate. And I was like, listen, when I retired from the school system, my only choice was Walmart, door greeter, right? Or real estate. So I said, let me give it a shot. I'm either going to love it or I'm going to hate it. And if I love it, I'm going to do it. And if I hate it, I'm just going to go on to the next thing. And I absolutely loved it. And so my first day, once I had my license and I could do other things, I went on a listing appointment with the realtor that had encouraged me to become a realtor. And we drive up to this house, and I'll never forget this. It was a little prefab house on piers, but the front door, we went through the front door. There were rose bushes on each side of the steps. You couldn't walk up the front steps without getting all cut up with these rose bush thorns. The house was so dirty. I remember thinking, number one, how do people live this way? And number two, after she gave us the tour, we sat at the table and there was so much food and syrup and crumbs and crap on the table where we were listing. She was signing all the listing papers. There was nowhere to sit without getting dirty. And so when we got in the car after she was done listing the house, I said to her, are you going to give that lady a list of to-dos to get this house ready? And she looked at me like I had lost my mind. And this person had been in real estate by this time probably 20 years. And she goes, no. And I just remember thinking, okay, I am never listing something that I am not proud to list, and that the person that lives in that house is not proud to list. There's so much to be said for first impressions and for being proud of where you live and for being proud of it hitting the market. And listen, I don't care if you're dirt poor or if your house is $1 million. I listed just this morning, go check it out on 707 South Avenue G in Crowley. It's listed for $78,000. This house is so neat, so clean, so adorable, so all the things. I did not even have to give that person a list of to-dos because it was in just absolute show-ready, move-in ready condition. Now that person listing that house is so proud to see that house in professional pictures and so proud to see it hit the market today. And that is what I love. And so I remember thinking back when that person said to me, no, I don't give them a list. I remember thinking, well, I'm always going to give a list. And because I'm a teacher, I can teach people what their houses need to look like in order to sell for the most amount of money possible in the shortest amount of time possible. And so there was another person that I ended up listing her house. It had been on the market for 862 days before I went and met with her. And I looked at the pictures that had been posted online of that realtor. That realtor had taken those pictures 862 days prior and had never updated the pictures. Now, number one, shame on that person. Shame on that realtor. What an amazing, crazy disservice to that seller, number one. And number two, just lazy. And number three, the pictures weren't even professional pictures. So I say to this lady, listen, we're going to get your house sold. It actually was a beautiful home, but it was overpriced. It was so cluttered. It looked like she wasn't even preparing to move. One thing I tell people is, listen, when somebody walks through your house, it has to look like you are preparing to move, which means you don't have all the clutter and the crap, and it's clean, and it's ready, and it's show ready, right? So I remember her giving me the tour of the house, and me just seeing clutter upon clutter upon clutter upon clutter. I mean, when your house is on the market for 862 days, you've just given up. You have resigned yourself that there is no way anybody's buying my house, right? So she had just given up. So it was dirty, it was cluttered, and this was the kicker for me. That house had 4 bedrooms. 4 bathrooms. Online, on that listing, there were 2 bathrooms shown, and she had a beautiful pool. Now, when I looked at it, it was filthy, right? It was filthy, but anything can be cleaned. It was a huge pool. It was a gorgeous pool. It had the potential to be a gorgeous pool. The pool wasn't in the pictures. Why? Because that realtor had not told that client to get it cleaned. And I guess didn't have the gumption to say, listen, you need to have this pool professionally cleaned so that we can get good pictures of it. We listed that house. I listed that house. Once she was done with her list, that you didn't recognize the before and after pictures. Number one, they were professional pictures. We had aerial photography. Her pool was gorgeous. All the things. During COVID, we listed her house. It stayed on the market for 62 days, and she got a full price offer on that house. And those people are still living in that house, and they love their house. All she had to do, all that previous realtor had to do was say, listen, ma'am, you need to pick up, you need to clean up, you need to prepare, and we're going to get your house sold. For a house to sit on the market for 862 days, listen, that baffled my mind. After that, a couple of weeks later, I got a call from some other people who had seen that post that I had posted on Facebook, because after it stayed on the market for 862 days, and I had a contract in 62 days, believe me, I blasted it all over the world. And so I got a call from another little couple whose house had been on the market for 3 years with 3 different realtors. 3 different realtors. So I get to the house. I walk in the house, the very first thing I notice is it's dark, it's dirty, and it's cluttered. So those three things. Why would somebody want to buy a house? Number one, that it just wasn't attractive. It wasn't appealing. It could be. It was an adorable little brick house in a great neighborhood. So I'm walking through the house, they're giving me the tour. I'm noticing lots of light bulbs are burnt. The backyard's a mess. They have crap everywhere. But it has so much potential. So I say, listen, your house has been on the market 3 years with 3 different realtors. Has any realtor ever said to you, you need to do this, this, and this to get it ready to sell? No, was the answer. No. Again, that just baffles my mind. So I say to them, all right, I'm going to give you a list. When you're done with your list, we're going to the photographer's going to come over and take pictures. We're going to get your house sold. We listed their house for $30,000 more than any of those other realtors had listed it for, and it went under contract for full price day 2 on the market. All right? So what does that mean? Remember this, all realtors are self-employed. We're all self-contracted. We all go by our same different rules. We all have different expectations. We all have different backgrounds. And literally for me, being an educator has been such a huge blessing for me because I love teaching and I love motivating people and getting them prepared to do whatever their goal may be. So if you want to sell your house, I guarantee you, if you do what I tell you to do, your house is going to sell. Some houses sell in a few days, some sell in a few weeks, some sell in a few months. It just depends on where it's located, how much it is, what it looks like, all those things. But remember this, if you are a seller, your house can never be too clean, too decluttered, too bright. And it needs to look like you are preparing to move. So I tell people, if you have closets, if you have a garage, if you have those storage kind of spaces, listen, box up things and box them up. And don't box them up if it's things you hadn't used in a couple of years that you're never going to use again. Get rid of them. It's a great time to declutter, to go to the dump, to have a garage sale, have an estate sale, all the things. All right, I'm wrapping up, but I want to tell you about some exciting new listings that are about to hit the market. If you go to darlacansell, that's S-E-L-L, darlacansell.com. There's everything on there that I have listed, and then you'll probably see all kinds of other things other people have listed. Remember, I can show you any house, anywhere. But these are some that I'm super excited about. There's a beautiful home with a huge shop and an outdoor kitchen on 3.6 acres, just a little bit south of Iota. And they are getting ready to have an estate sale. That's going to be Friday and Saturday. I think Friday it starts at 1. Saturday it's from 9 to 5. But I'm going to post it on my Facebook page after I get off of here and show you the exact time and the address. It's on McMillan. If you're familiar with Iota, it's Dr. McManus's home. It is impeccably taken care of. It is in amazing condition. It has a whole house generator, a 2-car garage with electric doors, an outdoor kitchen, a huge patio overlooking the back. It is in the city limits of Iota, and I tell you, every single time I've been there, in that backyard, under that beautiful patio, it feels like you're out in the country. Because you're on 3.67 acres of land in the city limits of Iota. So talk about convenient to have that place. Number 2, I have one that's a little bit north of Iota. It's actually about 4.5 miles just north of I-10, about to hit the market. It is going to list for between $450,000 and $465,000. It is completely remodeled. It is gorgeous. It has a huge shop, big enough to put an RV in. It has an outdoor kitchen. It has a pond. It's on 4 acres. The ceilings, I want to say, in the kitchen and living room are 13 or 14 feet high. Absolutely beautiful, this home. Just about 4.5 miles north of I-10, nowhere in a flood zone. That place is in impeccable, immaculate condition. Pictures and videos were taken yesterday, so it should be hitting the market in the next couple of days. In Roberts Cove, we had 3 listed in Roberts Cove, but 1 already went under contract. We have the one that is $798,000, almost 4,000 square feet with a gorgeous pond. The back grilling area of this home I absolutely love. When you're there, it's so quiet, it's so peaceful. It's on over 7 acres. Flood insurance is not required. It is only 18 months old and looks brand spanking new and actually still smells new. I don't think that they've hung anything on the walls yet. So that home is gorgeous if that's in your budget. Let's see, the little one in Crowley that just listed, that one's $78,000. And anyway, I have lots of things right now that are listed. The one in Egan on 200 Finner Duncan Road, the one that has the saloon in the back. Oh my God, I love that house. That one's on, I forget how many acres right now. I'm drawing a blank. Is it 6 acres? 6 acres, I think. That one was under contract. It actually went under contract when it had only been on the market about 4 days. The lady that was going to buy it had to sell her house in Texas, and she said that a local oil company was going to buy it. But unfortunately, it is under contract with that oil company, but for not nearly as much money as she thought that they would give her. So she had to cancel the contract because that one's a little bit out of her budget. So that means for you that if you're interested in a brick house in Egan, Louisiana, that home is a beautiful brick home on a slab. Like I said, I think it's about 5.5 acres. I'd have to pull it up. But go look at it on Realtor.com or my website. 200 Finner Duncan Road. Beautiful brick home with an outdoor kitchen. Just about a half a mile north of I-10 in the amazing community of Egan, Louisiana. If you're not familiar with Egan, it is a great community. They have a pre-K through 8 school there that has been an A for as long as I can remember. I went to school there, was an administrator there, it's always been an A. The community is absolutely phenomenal, and they have a great school system. So that's a perk, which feeds Toyota High. So guys, there's so much right now going on. It's a great time to be a buyer or seller. Again, I tell you, if you're thinking about buying or selling, you want me on your team. You will always feel like you're my #1 client. I will work hard to get you either the best deal as a buyer or the best price in the shortest amount of time if you're a seller. This weather, guys, this must be what it's like in California, right? This is just phenomenal. Y'all have a great day. Enjoy the weather. Again, remember this. There are no stupid questions when it comes to real estate. None. Anything you want to know, anything you're scared of, anything you have questions about, you can private message me, you can text me, you can call me, whatever. I will always get back to you. It's a great time to be a buyer or seller, and remember this, I always say this. The rates are okay, they're not amazing, but the smartest thing is to buy real estate and wait for the rates to go down to refinance, because the price of real estate is continuously going up. The price of real estate is not going down. And if you're renting, you shouldn't be worried about the interest rates, because if you're renting, you are paying 100% interest on something you're never going to own. Absolutely never going to own. So guys, if the interest rate on a house right now were 40%, it's still lower than you paying 100% on your rent house that you're never going to own. Y'all take care. Have a great